Today's message from Reverend Christian Sorensen was recorded on February 4th, 2018, and it's titled, The Season for Nonviolence and Peace, Affirming, I Am an Expression of Peace. And today we welcome back the spirit, voice, and talent of Ken Turner, who can be found on his Facebook page. And you can visit us at seasidecenter.org or join us in Encinitas, California sometime, where we always have great music, a spirited message, and a joyful, loving, vibrant community that await you.
Our special guest artist today is incredible. He is a dear, dear friend. He's been a great inspiration to me. I know you're going to be very moved by his music this morning. Would you please welcome Ken Turner?
Thank you to Danielle, another one of my singing buddies down through the years. I'm glad to be back here at Seaside. Good morning, everyone. This first song, go ahead, guys, you can get it started. It's going to require some audience participation. Similar to like a Simon Says, I sing it, then you sing it, but I'll tell you when it comes up, okay? Listen. Through you the blind will see, through you the mute will sing, through you the dead will rise, through you all hearts will praise, through you the darkness flees, through you my heart screams, I am free. Yes, I am free. I am free to run. You sing. I hear you. I am free to dance. I am free. Okay. I am free to live for you. I am free. One more time. I am free to run. You sing.
I am free to run.
I am free to dance.
I am free to dance.
I am free to live for you.
I am free to live for you.
I am free. I got another verse right here. Stay there. Through you the blind will see, through you the mute will sing, through you the dead will rise, through you our hearts will praise, through you the darkness flees, through you my heart screams, I am free. Yes, I am free. You sing.
I am free to run.
I am free to dance.
I am free to dance.
I am free to live for you.
I am free to live for you.
Yes, I am free. I am free. I am free.
I am free to run.
I am free to dance.
I am free to dance.
I am free to live for you.
I am free to
Repeat this part too. I say, I am free. You say, I am free. You say, I am free.
I am free.
Yeah. Take it away. Yes, I am free.
I am free.
Yes, I am free.
I am free.
Yeah. Come on. We are free. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Oh, I am free. I am free. I am free. Yeah. We're free. Yeah. Woo.
That is Ken Turner. Woo! What a wonderful song. I am free. Oh my goodness, what a high spiritual quality. As you've heard, Ernest Holmes mentions the word freedom 6 times in the opening page of the Science of Mind, as we learned last month, right? Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, I think that's the ultimate spiritual quality, and peace helps us to get there. And what we are doing here at Seaside is we are joining communities across the globe over the next 2 months to participate in what has been called the Season for Nonviolence. It is 64 days, which is why it's a season that begins, actually, we launched it here at Seaside Wednesday night with the interfaith service. How many of you were there? Oh, there was more than that. Anyway, it was fabulous. We had all sorts of ministers and speakers in, and just it was a powerful experience. But the season starts on January 30th, which commemorates this year. It would be the 70-year anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi's assassination. And it goes for 64 days, and it commemorates the anniversary. And it would be the 50-year anniversary now of Martin Luther King on April 4th. And so in that period of time, our intention is to just educate ourselves in how to bring forth peace. You know, Gandhi's big movement was Satyagraha, and that is really loosely translated. It's translated in a lot of ways, but just loyal to the truth. It is being loyal. And Gandhi was inspired by our guy, Thoreau, with civil disobedience. And Gandhi influenced Martin Luther King with the civil rights movements, as well as Mandela and the apartheid situation that was going on over there. And so this movement, called the Season for Nonviolence, started in the backyard of Arun Gandhi, along with some of our buddies from the Association for Global New Thought, having a barbecue, and said, what can we really do to honor these legends? And they came up with this concept of the season that began in 1998, hence the 20-year anniversary, with a launch at the UN. And what has happened is it continued to pick up momentum. It's a grassroots movement, which means there is no central organization around this whole thing. It is the people that says, you know what? There is a way to peace that doesn't have to do with violence. There is a way to peace that Gandhi and King had talked about. And in 2013, the Dalai Lama has lent his name to the Season for Nonviolence. And somebody asked His Holiness about, it's often said that you don't hate the Chinese communists who have systematically created destruction of Tibet. And his response was, yes, they have destroyed Tibet. They have destroyed our temples. They have burned our sacred texts. They have ruined our communities. They have taken away our freedom. But I'll tell you what, I refuse to let them take my peace of mind. Talk about someone, it's in the Dhammapada, which is the words of the Buddha, supposedly. He says, the one who conquers thousands in battle is one thing, but another is one who is able to conquer himself. That's the greatest victory. So, in support of some of those thoughts, there's this wonderful book by Jack Kornfield. I love this writer. This particular book I'm reading from is called The Wise Heart. And Kornfield, he graduated from Dartmouth College with majors in Asian studies, became a Buddhist monk through Thailand, Burma, India. He got his PhD in clinical psychology. And so he's really brought forth the meditation practices. And he addresses this, I think, very succinctly. About peace. He says, so does this mean that we can't respond strongly? King showed and Gandhi showed pretty strong, fierce approach to peace. This is what he said. No. Sometimes we need to get up, Shout out the truth. March, protest, or do whatever is necessary to protect our life and the lives of others. The great exemplars of nonviolence, such as Gandhi and Martin Luther King, were strategic and skilled in this way. They rallied the people. They used the courts. They broke the law. They blocked the way. They negotiated. They moved forward and back. They found allies. They used money, power, shame, speeches, politics, all to stand up for what was right. But they did not act out of hate or violence. And we too can seek justice, yet to do so with a loving heart. So the Buddha urges us to let go of our anger and extreme difficulties. You can find his words. Here's another Dhammapada. It says, he abused me and beat me and threw me down and robbed me. You repeat these thoughts and you'll live in hate. He abused me. He beat me. He threw me down and robbed me. Abandon those thoughts and live in love. In this world, hatred never ceased hatred, but by love alone it is healed. This is the ancient law. So often when there's something we feel like we must do, there's an urgency. But peace is not allowing yourself to get caught up in the urgency with a sense of desperateness. Is being able to keep a calm and composure. Because I'll tell you, we've all been to that place where we've had our backs against the wall, where we have experienced a pain and a trauma that is significant. A 49-year-old, after working the same employment for 20 years, was given a week's worth of severance pay and a handshake of a thank you. The young couple having one of their little babies crawling around the house, and one of them dies. Someone who has been abused, or someone who has been told by a doctor a verdict or a prognosis that's not very positive. These are life-changing, traumatic moments that all of us have faced at one time or another that have rearranged our life. They happen. But the question will come to, eventually, and what are you going to do? What are you going to do now? What are you going to do now with this in your life? And you can continue to remain in that place and wonder, what am I going to do? Or you can decide, the rest of my life is going to be the best of my life, and I'm not going to identify with being a victim here, or the trauma, or the drama, or the harassment, or the failure, or the difficulty. I am going to cast a new vibration in my life. I am going to make a new choice and realize that what has happened in my life is not happening to me, but it is happening for me. And those disastrous moments that have rearranged my life are there to strengthen me, that I am to become stronger through the challenges or the traumas of my life, and that my life is my gymnasium. And I get to figure out what it is I'm going to do with what's going on in my life, and I'm not going to give my power away to something that is outside of me. I'm going to claim the strength of who I am, and I'm going to realize that it is within consciousness all begins to change because I decide. I'm the one who gets to make a choice here. Am I going to quit, or am I going to get up and get going? It was Goethe, the German mystic, who said, when you learn to trust yourself, you'll know what to do with your life. When you learn to trust yourself, you'll know what to do in life, which I guess is the same as your life, but he said in life. When you learn to trust yourself, that's the key there. That is the key. That is, and it's going to take some work. And it's going to be tough sometimes. But is it worth it? Yeah, you get to decide, is it going to be worth it for you? I take a look at those guys in the Super Bowl. It was tough. They put in the work. But was it worth it? It was to them, wouldn't be to me. But it was worth it. You take a look at those Olympic athletes that are going to be racing down the mountain or sliding across the ice in a week. It was hard. And they put in work. But was it worth it? And it was to them. You get to make that decision as to what you're going to do. See, the choice comes to your consciousness, and you'll find peace as you begin to rest in that deep kind of assurance inside your being that, hey, this is what I need to do. And what you need to do isn't always what others are going to need to do. You know, being at the Super Bowl week, I got an email this week that said, my brother has 2 box seats at the Super Bowl. And they're he bought them for $2,500 each, which is actually cheap now because I think the standard seats are going for $3,500, which I don't get. It's the highest in the history of the game. But then when people pay $5 million for a commercial spot on the Super Bowl, I guess seats could be worth $3,500. Anyway, email went on to say, you know, my brother, when he bought these tickets last year, didn't realize that when he set up his wedding, that was the same day as the Super Bowl. It said, I need some help here. Is there anyone who can stand in for me? You know? The wedding's at 3 o'clock in New Orleans at Temple Chapel. She's 5'5". Her name's Jasmine Green, 138 pounds, and she's the one wearing the white dress. What's worth it to you? What's going to bring you peace in your actions, in your expression? I don't know how true that story is, but here is a true Super Bowl story. Yours was beautiful, Rebecca, but, you know, there's just amazing stories out there. And this one comes from a Minnesota Vikings fan. And those of you who are unfamiliar, you know, the last game to see who gets into the Super Bowl was the Minnesota Vikings, and they were a sure win to go through the Philadelphia Eagles. The Super Bowl, for the first time in the history of the game, looked as if it's going to be in Minnesota. The first time that the home team actually is from the city it is in. Everybody was excited for this. This guy won in a raffle 2 Super Bowl tickets, and his Minnesota Vikings got crushed by the Philadelphia Eagles, like 38-7 or something like that. It was big. And so he was so devastated, he said, I refuse to go to the Super Bowl. He lives in Eden Prairie, Minnesota. He had 2 tickets. He said, I'm going to give them away. And so what he did is he found a story online of a 13-year-old junior high kid in 8th grade who has been battling neuroblastoma, a cancer, since he was the age of 3. This kid loves football. It's too weak not strong enough to play football. So they allow him to help manage or coach this team. It made the news that week, and it was in Philadelphia. And this guy was so moved, he called up an organization called Spare Key, which makes dreams come true for kids. He gave the tickets to Spare Key, and on Monday they delivered the 2 free tickets to this 13-year-old in Philadelphia to go watch his Eagles in Minnesota. Yeah. And sometimes you're just moved by spirit. You don't have to question it. You find the peace when you say, you know, I'm going to listen inside. It tells me to do that. It may not be logical, but I'm willing to speak my truth. You ever sat like at a table with a bunch of people and you're sharing your truth and it's like, boom. And they're looking at you and you feel, well, maybe I need to change. You know, they're kind of powerful folks. Position. No. You don't need to change up your truth and your word. You offer up who you are and what you got to share with the world. This is the food, and those that are hungry that will partake of what it is you have to offer you get to. And if you get up, you walk away, not because they're powerful or authority, but because you are walking with power and authority in your life, that you have come to share a truth. That's how you live at a sense of peace. You share who you are and how it comes through you in your unique expression. You don't apologize. You want to experience peace, you got to be in integrity with who you are in life. That is the way it works. This is me, guys. I always enjoyed the story. You probably, maybe, I don't know, you heard about the monk who lived on the edge of the town, the outskirts of town. People just loved him. They adored him. Wonderful gift you are to a community. They come and they leave him these gifts and just say these wonderful things. And he say, oh, is that so? You know, he didn't like suck it up. And at one time there was this young woman in town, young girl, and out of wedlock, she became pregnant, and she lived at home, and there was a lot of trauma around that experience. Who's the father? Who's that? And she finally said, it's the monk at the monastery. Just cruel kind of thing. And so the whole town turned on this monk, this old man, this dirty old man. How could he? He trusted in all that stuff. And he lived with that, and he just said, is that so? A couple years later, the father of this child that was now born came back, and he had stepped away from the town because he couldn't take care of his fiancée, if you would, and learned a new trade and came back and now could take care of her and said, I have returned to take care of my family. The father of the family probably still wasn't too pleased, but better than the previous story. And they welcomed him back, and they went back to the monk and said, oh, we are so sorry. Please forgive us. You are wonderful. You are a gift. And he said, oh, so is it so? So is it? It's like, well, whatever. It kind of comes and goes. It's just what's important for you to find peace is not to be bloated by the praise or look for being honored. You continue to be who you are, and your journey of expressing that is the peace. I'm sure I've shared the story here. I've had people come through the door, Christian, man, you're wonderful. Oh my goodness, it's magnificent. Is like, and I would say, hey, it's not me, it's God. And this one lady said, well, it wasn't that good. One gets humbled real quick, in this. And so you get to decide, what path am I taking? Am I looking for the praise and the recognition, or am I just expressing who I am? Because the peace comes in our life when I am just following that truth that is within me, and I am just committed to this. I'm loyal to the truth, the Satyagahara of Gandhi. If I got to march, if I got to move, if I got to speak, if I got to stand for this, I am willing to do this because this is what is in my soul. And I find peace by standing in this. You're just one thought away from peace if you're in the midst of a conflict in your life. Gandhi said that there is no path to peace. Peace is the path. Is right. He's not the only one. Martin Luther King said that peace is just not the goal you seek. It is the means by which you achieve your goal. You get that, guys? It's being true. It's being at peace. It's being at integrity. It's about being in the flow. It's not giving your power away, whether they're thinking or the worry or the concern or the difficulty or the struggle that is going on there. I'm worrying. People say, I don't daydream, but I worry. Well, worry is daydreaming, guys. Don't you get that? If you're filled with anxiety, that's daydreaming. How are you going to turn around? Tama Keeves, who spoke here, we're trying to get her back again this year. She's come out with a new book. It's called Thriving Through Uncertainty. And she said she is one who spent her whole life negotiating with worry. It's like, yeah. And she said, well, she just wanted to be prepared. So she would run this horrific scenario through her head 100 times. And it's all of a sudden, you make it so real. That which you look at and see is the life you begin to live and to express yourself. But she says she just wanted to be prepared. And finally she got to the point, you got to give up that practice. She takes a lot of road trips, she says, and being prepared is making sure you have a spare tire, air in that spare tire, the information about your insurance. But it's not trying to figure out how you would escape the scenario if you had a flat tire on the side of the road and night started to fall and your car broke down right next to a high security federal prison where there was an escaped serial killer who loves brunettes. You don't need to go there. Why do you need to run that kind of... How do you stay at peace if you're running that kind of stuff through your head? You got to find a sense of calm. You're one thought away from that peace in your life, in your world. One thought. You can give it to anxiety and let it pull you down that rabbit hole, or you can go with a sense of peace. She talks about peace, not peace, calm. That she likes calm. Calm is the new black. It's like just prefers her pilots and emergency room doctors to be calm. Yeah? Not drooling calm. Centered calm. Yeah. The story you're running through your field of awareness is the life you get to live. That's what you get to create. That's what you get to put out there. And so this is why in the season of peace, we're saying focus on peace. Focus on that. Now, the season of nonviolence is based upon the Gandhian principles of being loyal to your truth. And so it's picked up the name peace and nonviolence, or nonviolence and peace. That's why we knock it around. But, being true to the thing is about being in integrity with not being violent to yourself. It's taking charge with your thoughts. I do yoga. I shared with you, I do it down the street at Yoga Tropics, where they heat the room up to, 250 or something. I don't know. But the reason I do it, because this is about as close as I can come to the ground when I bend over. My muscles don't seem to stretch without some intense heat to help loosen them up a little bit. And it's good detox and all those kind of things. But we go through a regular flow of yoga postures, and we get to this one where you're lying on the ground. I forget really the name of it, but the ultimate is those who can do it real good, which is only the yoga instructor, is you're lying on you're on the ground with your arms tucked underneath yourself like a volleyball bump. And it hurts a lot. Your shoulders, your arms, everything. Just painful. And then you're supposed to lift your legs up and bend your spine absolutely the opposite way that your spine bends. Not this way, but the other way, so your feet come up over your head and they make like a scorpion kind of thing. Sounds simple, except the spine doesn't bend that way. So your legs are sticking out. And so when she says that it's time to get into that posture, my body instantly texts the brain. Pain in 5, 4, 3, 2. And then she says, and just imagine that this is the easiest posture you have ever done. And it's in that moment of suggestion that my body relaxes, and it's like, let's go. It may not be the easiest posture, but I come to clearly recognize the difference of the consciousness around a particular embrace of an experience in our life. And so we get to decide, how am I going to be with this? How am I going to allow it to move in my life and in my body and in my experience? So you get to decide, what you're going to hold on to in consciousness. You have got this container, and I get it's hard to let go of the old stuff so there can be new flow coming into your life. That whole story of old skins, why, it's like we defend our position. And if we like our position, and it's a beautiful thing, I get that, but there's got to be room for the new expression of that spirit to come in with the fresh breath and the fresh wine and the fresh energy and that which is new and uplifting and revitalizing. I don't care where you are on your spiritual path or how many times you have been around the sun. It's one thing to feel a sense of comfort, but it's also another thing to create the space for the new wine to begin to expand your experience in the realm of God. But what happens is we hold on to a position, we hold on to the prognosis of the doctor or what the bank says or the trauma that I had, and it doesn't bring a sense of peace. It may bring a sense of familiarity, which can be comfortable, but we find greater comfort when we are expressing ourselves in our new way, in our new environment, not looking for the feedback that, hey, you did good, but rather this is who I am in this new way. And when things appear different to that wonderful flow, you are then given the opportunity to be in that gymnasium of life, to stretch yourself into a new kind of way and say, okay, this is an appearance that is going on in my world, and it says I'm comfortable and I really don't need to grow here. I'm fine at this point in my life. Or it can be something that is traumatic that has brought you to your knees and you're crying out, just help me, Spirit, love, something. Whatever that is, if we begin to remember the allness of Spirit, and all the religions, at least most of them, will talk about the allness of God. But this is the important differentiation between most of the religions and our philosophy, is that we don't bring the allness of God up against the appearance. We don't draw the allness of God in relation to the appearance of what's not working. What we focus in on is the allness of Spirit, the fullness, the health, the wholeness, the glory, the good, the abundance, the light, the life, the wisdom, the joy, the relationships, the magic, all of that. That is where we put our attention, not that in relation to the appearance. The appearance cannot remain in the field of that divine expression in our life. And as peace begins to find its home in your field of experience and awareness, it's like if you ever sat next to a mountain lake after a tumultuous thunderstorm and everything was wild, and then it's gone and there's a gentleness in the air. Yet the air is alive. It's dynamic. There's a freshness and a crispness that is just vibrantly hasn't been there. That is what it feels like to have peace begin to birth itself in you. And the way for your prayers to go is to allow them to come from a vision of harmony with that, from a sense of knowing that which I've been entrusted with I can do. I can go out there and express that. But Christian, that's crazy. Yeah, it is. But I don't want to look back in my life and say, I wish if I only had tried a little bit harder. I want to be able to put it out there 110% now. If you're willing to go for it all now and put 110% in your expression of what it is that is true to your soul and your spirit, a few years from now, you're not going to be sitting there wondering, I wonder if I could have just put in a little bit more. Because most give up on in the red zone, in the 90-yard, when you get close to the goal. But, trying to stick with Super Bowl analogies here, guys. When you have something that goes on in your life, you ask yourself, here's an exercise. You can write this down and remember this. But when you have an event or an activity that transpires, here's three things. Ask yourself, did it bring forth a sense of inner peace? Did it bring forth a sense of outer peace? And if not, what could I have thought or said or done differently to bring about a sense of peace here? What if I had given 110% now? Because if you go home and you look in that mirror, and you call forth your 18-year-old, and you look at that eyes of that 18-year-old of you in the mirror, looking back at you, would they be proud of what you have accomplished thus far in life? Will you have fulfilled the vision of that 18-year-old who's looking out at you? Try that and live in alignment with that, and you will find peace. God bless you in this season. Hey, let's keep it going as we bring Ken Turner back to our stage.
You are good when there's nothing good in me. You are love on display for all to see. You are light when the darkness closes in. You are hope, you have covered all my sin. You are true, even in my wandering. You are peace, when my fear is crippling. You are joy, you're the reason that I sing. You are life, in you death has lost its sting. I'm running to your arms, The riches of your love will always be enough. Nothing compares to your embrace. Light of the world, forever reign. You are more than my words will ever say. You are Lord, all creation will proclaim. You are here, in your presence I'm made whole. You are God, of all else I'm letting go. And oh, I'm running to your arms, The riches of your love will always be enough. Nothing compares your embrace. Light of the world, forever reign. I'm running to your arms, I'm running to your arms. The riches of your love will always be enough. Nothing compares to your embrace. Light of the world, forever reign. My heart will sing, we will proclaim, Spirit, Spirit. My heart will sing, we will proclaim, Spirit, Holy Spirit. My heart will sing, we will proclaim, Spirit, Spirit. My heart will sing, we will proclaim, Spirit, Spirit. And oh, I'm running to your arms, I'm running to your arms. The riches of your love will always be enough. Nothing compares to your embrace. Light of the world, forever reign. I'm running to your arms, I'm running to your arms. The riches of your love will always be enough. 'Cause nothing compares to your embrace. Light of the world, forever reign. I'm running to your arms, I'm running to your arms. The riches of your love will always be enough. Nothing compares to your embrace. Light of the world, forever reign. My heart will sing, no other name. Spirit, Spirit. My heart will sing, we will proclaim, Spirit, Thank you.
That is Ken Turner. Woo! Spirit. Oh, I loved it. Gave me chills on that one, Ken. Nice job, man. Woo! All right.